creativity and perfectionism. Literally, I've been thinking about this kind of a lot lately because I I'm a perfectionist to the core. I was born like I became an organism in the womb, and my first ever brain cell formed, and that brain cell was like a perfectionism one. And so it's like inbred in my brain cells membranes to be a perfectionist. And I feel like there's pros and cons to being a perfectionist. And like when it comes to creativity specifically, I feel like there's a lot of cons with being a perfectionist but also wanting to be creative and like an artist and stuff. So I thought that we would talk a little bit about that today, about like some of the cons of it, but also what helps me to get over that essentially and like be creative anyways. Obviously I'm not perfect. Like I'm still a perfectionist when it comes to a lot of things. I'm still type A with a lot of things, but it is something that I'm learning. I am learning it. And yeah, I just thought I'd share some of my, I guess, insight, even though I don't really have insight. I'm only 23 years old, okay? Like, I've been alive for 23 years. I guess that's kind of a long time. Is that a long time? It kind of is. Yeah. But in my head, I still feel 17. Okay, anyways. So, this is kind of funny because the way that I wrote my notes today, was... Okay, story time. So... for the last few days, I've been really wanting to film a podcast, but I'm like, I just don't know what topic to talk about or anything. And like, sometimes the way that I like to work, or like the way that I like to create is I get just a random idea and then feel really excited about it and then just run with it. But sometimes, actually majority of the time, I don't just get ideas into my head. I really have to kind of like reach for ideas. And I was really trying to reach for ideas with this podcast. Like my next episode or whatever is going to be. And I was starting to get frustrated. And like, I don't know about y'all, but when I'm like feeling down in the dumps and stuff, I really don't get any good ideas. Sometimes I get really good ideas, but like most of the time I don't. And so pretty much story time is that I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to like grab this notebook and just throw a ton of kind of random thoughts on it. Without even thinking or like making it perfect or making a list. So it's all just chicken scratch on a page. And then I got an idea. And it all just kind of unfolded. And so I guess that was my perfectionism. I was pushing that away and just trying to create anyways. You know what I mean? So creativity and perfectionism. So, something that I feel like is like, something that's been very helpful for me is, like I just said, to just start, like, just grab a piece of paper and, like, write words. Like, say that you're trying to write, like, a screenplay, and, like, you're just not getting any good ideas. And what if you just had like 5 minutes where you just sat down and just like wrote like anything that comes to mind and then just see what happens? I have found in my personal experience, and maybe this will help someone, is that when I just start on anything, then the ideas just start to come naturally. And they don't feel forced, and I feel more excited about them. So I feel like an example I can equate this to is my YouTube videos. I try and make YouTube videos like anytime I have any sort of idea. And also, I try and make videos even when I don't have an idea. So like I'll just turn the camera on and just start recording something, and then I'll be like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then say that I'm like recording a plant, okay? And then I'm like, ooh, I have an idea to just only record plants for this whole video. Like that's just a random example. I haven't really done that. But it's like I start something and then the ideas just come after that. Like, for example, I was working on a painting today that I've literally been staring at this. I drew it out, right? What I wanted to paint. I drew it partially. And then I was like, I don't know. Like for a whole week, I was just walking past it, you know, kind of looking at it like, oh, I should probably, you know, finish that. And today I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to like slap some paint on it and see what I make out of it. Because I wasn't having any inspiration for where I wanted to take the painting. So then I just started slapping paint on it, and then some new ideas came. As I was doing that, I was listening to my music, just like, you know, going and then slapping paint on it. I'm like, dang, I wonder if that's just how my brain works with my creativity. Like, I wonder if I need to just start doing something. Even if it's like really bad, just start doing it and then the ideas start coming. I feel like that's just how my brain works. And I feel like definitely I'm not the only one who has that kind of like mind, I guess. I think that with perfectionism, it can kind of be like you want to have a detailed plan before you start something. You want to have like, you know, the outcome already prepared and like or just like an idea of what the outcome will be. And like even taking it to next steps of like you start an art project and then sometimes you're like, oh my God, like how can I make money from this? Or like how many people are going to see this? Or like how many views is this going to get? All of those kinds of questions come in. And I was actually watching an Instagram reel about 5 of the great ways to just pretty much like ruin your creativity. Not like ruin it, because like you can always be creative, but yeah, like to ruin your creativity pretty much. In the moment when you have an idea, like try to avoid thinking about the outcome of it. Just think about, kind of like focus on the present of like what you're creating. And I feel like this is very beneficial because with everything in my life, I always want a detailed plan. I want to know where I'm going, the next steps, what the outcome will be, how things will unfold. I'm like, I can be impatient a lot of the times too, where I just want to like, you know, just have things done quickly and, you know, really fast and stuff. And these things are ruining my creativity because I'm not like, you know, focusing on the process of creating. Yeah, it can be a little bit discouraging. It can be discouraging, but you know what isn't discouraging is honestly just starting something. Literally just start it. I'm reading this book called The Artist's Way, and it's really good. I recommend it if you maybe have some like limiting beliefs or something about the stuff that you create, or even just like, oh, like my stuff's not that good, or I don't have good ideas. Like if you have those types of beliefs, I highly, highly, highly recommend this book because it's like a 16-week program or something. I don't even know, 12 weeks. And like part of it is demolishing those bad beliefs. And you have to in order to like, you know, get your creativity flowing. And one thing that the author, sorry, I can't remember her name right now. One thing that she said in the book that just like really stuck with me is It's like audacity wins over talent. It wasn't exactly like that. That wasn't a direct quote, but that just like, I was like, dang, that's honestly really true. Not like it doesn't win over talent, but like if you have the audacity, you're gonna succeed. Like that's what I got from it. And like you can have the talent but never take the next steps, but someone who doesn't have the talent does take the next steps because they have like the self-belief to do it, and like, you know, the willingness to like go out and fail and try again and fail. And like I guess that's kind of how I interpreted that quote, I guess. Yeah, you get it, right? Okay, so also I wanted to mention that just starting something, going with it, and then like see if you can maybe share it with one of your close friends or like someone that you really trust who is maybe also in like a creative space or something, that you know for sure is going to be nice to you about what you share with them. And I feel like this might not be a good idea for some people, like if you don't have someone in your life who is encouraging about like what you're creating and stuff. So like take that with a grain of salt, because just be careful about who you share your stuff with. But if you do have someone that you trust and you want to share it with them, I honestly feel like it really helps, oddly, with like what I'm creating. I don't know why. Like I have a few friends who are also artists, and we're all kind of like, you know, in the stages of like, we're still building stuff. We're still building what we want to build. And like that's just a perfect like relationship to share creative projects with, because you're both kind of in the same boat a little bit. Like you're both trying to build stuff, and you're going to be nice to each other because you know the struggle of creating something and feeling discouraged or like comparing yourself to people who have been doing it for years and stuff. Anyways, just try and start something, and then maybe the ideas will come, maybe they won't. I don't know, maybe your mind is different, and like maybe you get a really good idea and it's hard for you to just start or act on it. But just like start, just try anything, just start the smallest little bit of it, and then create it, and then maybe try and share it with someone that you really trust and love. And I don't know, I just feel like there's something about that. It like almost builds my confidence in, it's kind of like telling my brain that either way I'm going to be safe. Like I'm still alive. Okay, I shared my work. Maybe someone didn't like it. I'm still alive. I didn't get injured. You know, I'm good. My ego is just a little bit bruised, but that's fine because the ego is kind of annoying. Like, why do we have an ego? Sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought a lot today. I don't know why. Yeah, then share it, and then just see what happens. And this is what I was talking about. Okay, so yeah, I feel like it builds my confidence, and then it oddly makes me want to keep sharing my work and be vulnerable. That's what it's teaching my brain, is to be vulnerable. And I hate being vulnerable. I really hate that. And I feel like, you know, like it doesn't make you successful to do that part of this whole like perfectionism creativity thing, but I feel like it does help. And yeah, one other thing that I know I touched on, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about, is expectations of the work. And I do this to myself a lot. I set very unrealistic expectations for myself and what I'm creating, where like to the point where I take the joy out of it. And like I compare my work to people who are really good at it. And like people that I admire and look up to, even though like I'm inspired by them, I still compare my work to them. And I feel like this is just something that we got to cut completely. We got to cut that program 100% completely. Because what benefit does that offer, babe? It doesn't offer any benefit. It doesn't offer any benefit because we don't need to have expectations about anything when it comes to creating something. Like, you could have an idea for a painting and then say that you have no expectations about it. You're just doing it for fun. You're just in the moment, just creating stuff. And then you get a really good other idea or a whole new direction you want to take with the painting. And I feel like we have to allow that. And having an expectation, I feel like can, not in all situations, but in a lot of situations, maybe like just kind of kill the joy of creating in the first place. You know what I mean? Perfectionism is just, it's an annoying thing because it tells you like, oh, you can't start this project until you have this, or you can't do this until you have that, or you have to meet these people in order to do this. But it's like, no, that's not the case. And perfectionism is so annoying. Like, you just have to start. Something I was thinking about too was like the greatest people, or like, at least in my head, like the greatest people, the people that I really look up to in the areas where I want to like build a career in, they started with what they had and then they worked their way up. But it's like, what if they just didn't start? Then they wouldn't be where they are today. It's like, yeah, you just have to start. I think that my perfectionism is really getting in the way of this episode right now, if I'm being 150,000% honest, because I'm like very new to this whole podcasting thing, and also just like I'm also very new to just sharing my thoughts in general with people. I mean, I do that. I share my thoughts, but a lot of times I don't. So I'm like still learning how to fully do that, honestly. That's pretty much it for this episode because I don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over. But I do want to make sure that the message is heard, that like we don't have to let our perfectionism get in the way of creating something, because we can just work around it. We can work around it by just starting anything. So honestly, finish listening to this podcast or just click out right now and just go over to your project that you have been working on every few days or something. I don't know, whatever project you're working on, and just do something for it. Just like, even if it's a video, maybe add like find a song for the video, or like draw a circle in your sketchbook or something. I don't know. Just start it, and then maybe you'll get more ideas, and just have fun with it. Just have fun. Okay, that's it. Bye. I'll see you in the next one.